Everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Coming soon, Missing 2, Double the Suspense, Double the Fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings, King David Psalms. Check out the Sweet Psalmist on Amazon, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. And also brought to you by Sensei Swing, Eric Diamond with All of Me. New music coming soon, ericdimemusic.com. Follow on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and more. We're here with the terrific lady who's a best-selling author, speaker, and creator of the Petite Practice. Moved from Germany to U.S. in 99, earned a PhD in health economics in 05, and began the Petite Practice in 2012, and launched the Happy Health Hustle 23 podcast. We'll talk more about that. The Petite Practice, we'll find out exactly what it is. Also a professor in agribusiness at Cal Poly State University, graduated a PhD from Purdue in ag economics, specialized in the agribusiness and industrial sector. Also has a new book which helps professionals, entrepreneurs unlock their unique strengths and create success on their own terms. The book is called Discover Your Superpower. Live, ladies and gentlemen, Plus Studios between LA and San Francisco. The multi-talented best-selling author, professor, speaker, and creator of the Petite Practice and the book Discover Your Superpower, the multi-talented Dr. Christiane Schroeter. Dr. Christiane, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks so much. I'm really thrilled to be here. This is going to be amazing.
It's great to have you on board, Dr. Christiane. You're a best-selling author, speaker, and creator of the Petite Practice, also a professor over at Cal State University. You moved from Germany to U.S. in 99, earned a PhD in health economics. Also began a Petite Practice in 2012. Also launched the Happy Healthy Hustle in podcast in 23. Your book is called Discover Your Superpower, helping professionals, entrepreneurs unlock their unique strengths, create success on their own terms. And before getting all that, tell us how you first got started.
Well, it just got kind of started being passionate about health, to be honest with you, right? Once you struggle with something and the struggle is bigger than maybe finding a solution, you actually start looking for something. You're like, you know what, this can't go on like this. And so, yeah, I had some issues with my health. I didn't feel I had a lot of energy, didn't feel my skin and my hair was great. So I looked for different solutions. And then I became really passionate about health overall. And then I started thinking about like connecting economic signals to health. And that's how I became really passionate about helping others design products, design services that really create business solutions for solopreneurs.
Mm-hmm. And was it one exact precise moment that simply influenced you into your rest of career?
I have to say, I always, as a child, loved watching commercials.
Oh,
That was always
wow.
my
Okay.
favorite part. I loved watching commercials, like the way that they positioned the products, the way that they really thought about highlighting some values. That was like when it totally clicked. And I love marketing. That's what I teach at the university. And I love teaching innovation entrepreneurship. So putting out trends and figuring out how trends connect with what consumers want, or highlighting the value of a product in a certain way, which really was marketing is, I always like that was already as a child that clicked with me.
That's interesting. And what are some of your favorite commercials that you remember that really stood out for you?
Well, like I mean, in Germany, it's like commercials. To be honest with you, have like a little bit of like a dry humor, right? So, like for instance, to show that a product would be light instead of like maybe in the United States it might be like flying up in the air because it's light, right? In Germany, they would show the person eating the product of a competition and then like literally falling through the ground after they ate it because it was so heavy. And so that's like, competitive marketing in Germany and in Europe in general is like completely allowed. In the United States, not so much really. But I remember that I was like, wow, now they're falling through the ground because the other product is so heavy and this product that they eat is so light. And I always thought it was really, really funny how you can fall through the ground and just like plump, there's a hole and they disappear.
Eating the competition. I love that. You're making me hungry, Chrissy.
Yep, yep,
Oh my gosh. It makes you think of those McDonald's commercials, Burger
yep.
King, Wendy's, where they eat the hamburger, eat the competition and everything. Oh my goodness. I think you're I'm ready to go after a hamburger right after this one here. So
Love it, love it. And of course it's all nostalgic too. Many of these brands really that's like been going on, the Pepsi Coke battle forever and ever. So it's kind of entertaining, really, to look at that too.
And I remember that too. They even had at the shopping malls all over the U.S. that one year, who do you like better, Pepsi or Coke? But then
Yeah.
we would go to every single one because we're thirsty. We'll say, oh, we'll say it's Pepsi. Next one, oh, we'll say it's Coke. I mean, we just wanted to get a free drink. That's all we really wanted.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring that up because it in marketing it's just fun to see that battle to battle. And it's the same thing with us as coaches, right? To where how do we really thrive in our business? We sometimes feel we need to down talk the competition, where in reality, really, you make yourself only look good if you just talk about what value you offer to the consumer that makes you uniquely you. And just by talking about that, consumers are already going to realize who you really are. That kind of taps into that superpower now.
Mm-hmm. And you may talk about with the competition and everything here in the states. That reason why it's actually discouraged because according to
Yeah.
professors, I took some classes and everything else, advertising, communication, a bit of marketing, just about everything.
Yeah.
They're saying that if you're putting down the competition or you're saying that Pepsi beats Coke, what they say in America, you're actually advertising for the competition. And I thought that is interesting. Like just say, let's just say a McDonald's commercial. Here we
Mhm.
have the Big Mac, and this is the other guys. It's like you're actually encouraging the competition, which is like giving
Mhm.
them advertising. So I
Mhm.
could see why that you kind of have this thing about it's not so much, but here we have in the states, it's actually discouraging, sinful, or whatever you call it, to really
Mhm.
encourage the competition by downplaying and everything else. Like say, here's like this big thing of detergent, and here's the other guys. It's like you're encouraging the competition, but you're right though. It's like I could see where that's coming from.
Yeah, and then if you look at the Latin origin of the word competition, it's actually competare, which means thriving together. So in reality, competition is not the head to head against each other, but it's like we're all thriving together in this field. That makes you much better.
It's almost like what the Olympics or like say the 400 relay, where it's like you pass baton, you build each other, you give strategy and everything. I think I can see where you're coming from. And getting back to the commercials, this stood out for me as well too. I remember back in the United States, there's a pitcher named Ron Darling for the New York Mets. It's one of my favorite commercials, and this is where he shakes off the sign that says some people prefer a taste of Pepsi and shakes off the sign. Some people prefer the taste of Coke, but some people prefer a taste of RC Cola, and he'll go like this. Throw the ball, and here's a catcher that he's holding down a can of RC Cola. And I think that was a really cool commercial. And a lot of us based off it. Some people prefer a taste of Pepsi, some people prefer a taste of Coke, and some people prefer a taste of RC. And I think that was really cleverly done.
Yeah, it's kind of fun sometimes to look at the commercials. It's just like the Super Bowl, right? Where you're kind of looking forward to that. It's like, what did they come up with?
Right. Or it's almost like, what's going to be funny, what's going to be humorous, what's going to stand out, and whatever else. And I'm probably going to bias
Mm.
because one of my favorite commercials happened to be where my beloved Packers beat the New England Patriots when Brett Favre was the quarterback. And they had a Nissan commercial back in '95 where they played The Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Here's his birds like, here we come. And he starts laying all these bird droppings on a brand new Nissan, just driving fast. And by the time it gets to the garage, Mayday, cram right into the garage. He goes, Mayday. And I thought that was so funny. It's like you try making things stand out. Budweiser commercials come up something sentimental, or you have those Doritos commercials. You never know what's going to happen. And I think there was also, yeah, I got the Miller Lite commercials. Remember back in the day, you had two
Mhm.
superstars saying, tastes great, less filling. And you look forward to
Ah!
that. Who's going to be arguing what they're going to say next? And in the playground, you start reenacting those. You think about it.
Yeah, it's actually funny you bring that up because because I'm a professor, I always think in marketing, it's really either way you convince or you confuse. Because sometimes you think about marketing, you're like, I don't actually even know really. What is this advertising? What is this all about? And then there are the convincing ones, the ones that you mentioned you talk about in the playground.
Right, exactly. And of course, this brings out the best in people. We'll talk more about with Dr. Christiane Schroeter with the Discovery Superpower. But first,
Mhm.
listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com. Powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews. And Eve Levin endorsed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassie, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today before it goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. Available on Amazon. Coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson-Zia. Double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Sweet Psalms by Serena Wagner, based on the life of David, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalms gives a new perspective David through Psalms he wrote as the time of shepherd where it started and complicate your turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, hope, and more. Check out the Sweet Psalms by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. Check it out today. Also brought to you by Sensei Swing, Eric Dammers, the latest release, All of Me, featuring I Got a New Heartache, Bring Me Sunshine, Strike a Match, and more. Eric's a multi-award winning artist, inducted numerous Hall of Fames, entertainer, album of the year, and new release coming soon. Check out the amazing Eric Dime music today, ericdimemusic.com. Follow on Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and more. Also check out the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, 40 podcast platforms. Heard of 100 countries. Take us with you on any mobile device. Follow us on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, all the social platforms, and more where you listen to your podcast. And for great gift ideas like t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. Type in the keywords, Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out me and Molson-Zia, great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Where he's amazing best-selling author, speaker, and creator of the Petite Practice and professor, Dr. Christiane Schroeter, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about discovering your superpower, tell us about your trek going from Germany over to the U.S.
Yeah, so I came to the United States to do some education. I basically always wanted to study abroad, and we learned English at a young age, and I learned French and Spanish too, and decided to go to the United States, applied, was selected for a Fulbright scholarship, earned my PhD then ultimately, and then started working as a professor teaching statistics and marketing, innovation entrepreneurship, and absolutely love it.
And you certainly love it as well too. You love to market. You love to coach people. You're into health and everything else like that. And of course, you also have your first entrepreneurial trademark, the Petite Practice. You launched in 2012, and tell us more about that.
Yeah, Petite Practice really breaks one big goal down into small steps. So if you look at, and I just mentioned that I'm passionate about languages, if you look at the 2 words, petite, small, practice, just meaning that you're doing something you might not be necessarily familiar with, but you're taking that first step. So you're taking a first small step towards reaching your goal. And no matter what your goal is, whether that's, like scaling your business or even starting your business or maybe moving into a different branch in your business, that Petite Practice, that first small step, if you keep doing it on a consistent basis, will get you closer and closer to reaching your goal. And guess what? If you take a misstep, that's all right, because keep in mind, it's a practice, right? That small first step, even if it's a misstep, you can course correct, you can pivot, and you just keep going.
It's also a way to grow on your energy, your season, and also your pace as well. I mean, it's taking baby steps to a whole new level in a small way.
I know. Well, and if we think about life, we sometimes even intimidate to just get started and you don't know where to turn. When in reality, just getting started is already that first Petite Practice, because you're doing something, and just doing something is better than just watching from the sidelines.
Exactly. And what was that one moment that inspired you to create the Petite Practice?
Well, I was actually kind of like thinking about my own life and looking back, and how did I accomplish to get a PhD? How did I accomplish to get a best-selling book? how did I accomplish reaching the top 1% in my podcast, right? So my speaking, my coaching, my teaching, really, how did I line up all this? And then I realized, oh my gosh, yeah, that's true. I'm a best-selling author because it took each day and I wrote a few pages in my book. And my podcast is ranked really highly because my podcast is released on a consistent basis. And I reached my dissertation because I had a system in place where basically every day I sat down and I wrote a couple of pages in my dissertation. So everything in my life I had broken down. I just never named it. And then I thought that other people always ask me, how do you do all that? And I was like, well, I probably need to name it so that I can actually explain it in much better terms than like, well, I kind of do it like that or like that. And so then I named it, and all of a sudden, I've been really transforming people's lives. And it's been amazing because the transformation is really where the momentum happens. And that's, what's creating even more joy. Just earlier this week, found out I'm going to be a TEDx speaker, sharing my wisdom on stage. And for me, I'm applying again the same concept. How did I become a TEDx speaker? Using my Petite Practice, right? So I'm like living proof that it works.
So in other words, what you did in your dissertation, you wrote 2 pages a day. Then you went off and did something else. Then you went off and did something else. You went off and did something else. You had a bit of free time, and the same cycle just keeps going over and over again. Is that right?
It is right. And it could be even that you have multiple goals at one stage in your life, right? Maybe you have a wellness goal and you have a business goal and you have some kind of personal goal, right? Like you want to maybe read more. That could be your personal goal. Maybe your wellness goal is you want to walk outside more. And then maybe your business goal is you want to read more business books. Now I can actually tell you, you can even combine all these goals by going on a walk and listening to an audiobook for like 15 minutes per day. So you move, you read, and you learn. And that is another way of the petite practice that maybe you're branching outside of what you thought is impossible. Like, I don't have time to read. I don't really like reading books because I get so tired and I don't really feel like I don't even know where to turn. Well, so maybe try a different way of reading. That's the practice part, right? Like, how about we try something different than what you've done before because you feel stuck because everything that you've tried didn't work. So let's try something a little bit different. And
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes helps too, that you become curious. And the curiosity leads to the growth, and the growth then leads to that momentum that I've been bringing up.
That is really interesting. I really like that. And of course, if they're looking for something to do with a book, they can pick up Discover Your Superpower. And what is that book? We'll find out 1 minute with Dr. Christiane Schroeter. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing, The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on a life of Dave, including 30 exquisite paintings and King David Psalms, Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and also brought to you by the Sensei Swing, Eric Diamond was latest release, All of Me, new music coming soon, ericdiamondmusic.com. We'll be back with multi-talent Dr. Christiane Schroeter after this timeout. We're back with Dr. Christiane Schroeter of Discover Your Superpower here on the Mike Wagner Show, best-selling author, speech, and creator of the Petite Practice. And also, we'll be talking about our podcast in just 1 minute. But of course, you talked about pick up a new book, audiobook, whatever your book. And I think I can see people discover your superpower and help professionals, entrepreneurs unlock their unique strengths and create success on their own terms. And tell us more about the book and what inspired you to write that book.
Yeah, so the book, Discover Your Superpower, is really my latest book. And it actually taps into all senses of learning, right, Mike? So if you think about yourself, do you think more a learner that likes listening, or do you like reading, or do you like experiencing? What do you think? Where do you fall?
I think I'll probably do both, where it's just like, I have this one quote that I apply a lot, and this is from Ben Franklin. It says, tell me, I may forget, show me, I may remember, involve me, I will learn. So it takes listening, it takes reading, and takes participating and being engaged. And sometimes you have to do it at the same time. So I think that's something that you could probably do as well. Listen, you can read,
Oh,
and everything. Yeah. So it's like you can listen at times, but then I have this thing with multitasking, and my dad has done this, and I picked this up a lot, where he'll be working in the garage, and then he would have like one ear turn on to the Green Bay Packers on the radio, and he'll have Chicago Bears on TV, but yet he'll be doing something at the same time. And people look at me, it's like, how can you do that? You have to train yourself in that area. So that's one of those superpowers you pick up. You listen, you read, and then you can also do things at the same time. It's like you can walk, talk, and chew gum at the same time, and also ride your bike, and you could also pet the dog as well or something.
Beautiful. I mean, like that quote is so brilliant. I absolutely love it. Yeah, so that was really for me, the motivation to write that book. That I looked at my college students, I looked at my clients, and what I noticed was what's there out there in the market, usually aimed at like one type of learner, the reader or the listener or the experiencer. But it didn't really exist that we combined it all into one book, like a little worksheet book where you can tap into an audio recording, you can watch a video recording, you have maybe a word search or puzzle that you can do,
Oh,
or
I
maybe
love
a
those
quiz.
things.
So that's my book right there. It taps into all learners, and that keeps it interactive because we are not the same, and we don't have every day is not the same either. So even like we change. So that also means that the books keeps it super interactive in terms of how you learn the material, how you pick it up.
You talked about people learning different as well too. People have a different process, and I had this one quote which I think pretty much summed up everything. If people look the same, act the same, thought the same, dress the same, be the same, this world would be pretty damn boring.
Exactly. Yeah. So my book is definitely, and in general, my coaching style is far from boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just like when you listen to my podcast, Happy Healthy Hustle, it's definitely no boredom.
Right, exactly. We'll get to that in a minute, but you also have the 3P system in the book, and tell us about the 3Ps.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the listening, right? That's the podcast portion right there. So I share the insights of some of my most amazing podcast guests. So people can purchase the book and they have access to the podcast episodes after they purchase the book. So it's quite amazing. Secondly, there's personality quizzes in there. So in the books are personality quizzes that you can take, and it teaches you a little bit about more about yourself. And then thirdly, the concepts in the book, of course, touch on marketing, on innovation, entrepreneurship, on really my secrets to success to become a successful business owner. And so there are word searches that allow you to find the words of these marketing theorems. And I call them power searches. So it's the
Oh,
pod,
wow.
it's the personality quiz, it's the power search, because the power search really fuels you up. And that's my 3P system in a nutshell.
And I think that's really interactive as well, too, having a 3P system. The quizzes, I really like that. The assessments, power word searches, exclusive podcast episodes, step by step. And of course, you get a toolkit to go with it, too. I mean, not the tools you get at a hardware store, but a
Exactly.
toolkit. Right.
Yeah, you get a toolkit. So people have access actually to a digital template page that they can then download templates, for instance, to create a one page, which you might need to apply to be a podcast guest or speak as a keynote speaker. It also gives you access to a value proposition canvas, which you can use to really line out what's the value I'm offering to my clients or with my products. And then the business model canvas, which essentially is what's used now. You don't write long marketing or business plans anymore. You just put them all in one canvas. And so you can use that as an interactive template to really figure out what partners do I want to align with? What's really the channel where I want to see my products? Where do they sell? And so it has these 9 fields. It's interactive, and you can put your best ideas there, and it allows you. It's basically a digital playground. It allows you really to map out your business structure.
That is really interesting. And there's some people out there that procrastinate, overthink, and worry and everything like that. What are some of the tips that you offer right now? Those who
Mm.
procrastinate and overthink and have a
Yeah.
fear of especially failing.
Yeah. So I actually call it productive procrastination. There are people that are
Productive
very
procrastination. Say that 10 times fast, folks.
productive procrastination. There are people that are just exceptionally busy. And they're always like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. And this is just a busy weekend. Oh my gosh, what a busy month. but then you really say, how are your sales going? Are you moving the needle in your business? How many podcasts have you appeared? Have you maybe lined up anything with regard to your speaking engagements? You're writing your book, right? Aren't you writing your book? And they're like, oh, no, no, no. I've been busy like researching this or that. And they get like so into this productive procrastination.
Productive procrastination. Productive procrastination. Productive procrastination. I failed 10 times already.
So they get so into this that they feel overwhelmed because they never take these small steps to actually get closer to their goal. They just overthink what actually needs to get done. And perfectionism clearly has a big role with that as
That's
well.
another one I think that's been the big thing. Seems like society encourages perfectionism all across the board.
For sure.
That's actually killing a lot of things.
Yeah, and that's why it's called petite practice and not petite perfectionism. A lot of things don't even need to be perfect. I would say the majority of things that I've produced in my life, I basically just have to say, all right, that's good. Moving on. Moving on. I always tell my children.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
I've been there, done that. I've been in times before where I'm just about this close. Like, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you're like, okay, if I could do like a little bit more. And then
little up. That's good. We'll take care of it.
Yeah. And one thing that really helps me, and I'm showing this here now to the viewers, is I have this cute little cube on my desk, right? So it's a timer cube. And look, if you flip it up, it makes like a little sound, and then it actually starts lighting up on the time.
Wow. So what is it? You like just toss up like dice and just rolls up and say, hey, this comes up. I have snake eyes, box cars, or 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like, do you roll that? And like, it's like, hey, it comes up. It's like, hey, I've got 15 minutes. Shake it again and roll the dice. Does that operate like that?
Well, you can kind of like think about it yourself. It's like, well, I'm designing a cover for my new book. How much time do I want to dedicate? And it could be that productive procrastination would be you're like sucked in all week. And you just don't like at the end of the week, like, wow, I did really work on this cover, but I feel it's not quite perfect yet. And so here you are like, in my book, I explain this, but right now I summarize. Your result goal would be I design a cover for my book. Your action goal would be I design a cover for my book in 20 minutes by looking at other covers, maybe for 10 minutes. And then the rest of the 10 minutes, I'm going to draft a cover and then I'm going to move on. So you're saying in action what you will do. You're also saying how long you will do it. And then you're setting your timer, because otherwise, if you look at your phone and you set your timer there, you start researching things on social media, start looking at your email, blah, 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 blah. That's not good. So you need a timer, you need an action goal. And then, of course, you need to really be honest with yourself and then move on, as we just said, Mike, right? You just have to say, no, I have to let go. I have to let go. And then you move on. After that, after you design the draft of your cover, you're like, all right, so I got the draft done. Let's maybe now look at what do we want on the back side of that book, right? And what needs to appear right there? Do I need testimonials? Do I need a summary? What else do I really need?
Mm-hmm. And I think you really hit some points as well, too, on the head as well, that also tie into your podcast. We get to that, the Happy, Healthy Hustle, and tell us more about that. What inspired you to get the podcast going?
Yeah, so the podcast has been thriving quite well. I started in 2023 on 3/23/23.
32323. I like that. Best way to remember.
Yeah, it's nearly like our productive procrastination. So the 3/23/23, when I started the podcast, I thought at the beginning, this is the brilliant application actually of a petite practice. At the beginning, I just got started. I recorded on my phone. And then I heard from somebody, you need to have 4 episodes out there before you publish, and I was like, 4 episodes? What am I going to talk about? And I was like, well, maybe one of them needs to have a guest.
Right. Yeah. And that's pretty easy.
I was like, well, I mean, I don't really know any guests. So I was like, well, I guess I live with my husband. So he's going to be my guest.
There you go. They always make great guests. Have your dog, have your cat, get a neighbor, or pull somebody from the street. I've seen people do that.
I know. So basically, I asked my husband, he was my guest. And then I, over time, Petite Practice wise, became more and more passionate. And of course, it improved. Do I take down those old episodes, the ones that I recorded on my phone? Of course not. Because anybody that wants to start a podcast needs to realize that I started small and here I am in the top 1% globally. But I started small. Like the first ones, I had no clue what I was doing. And I just went for it because I was like, if somebody thinks, that I need to be my best own case study, I need to do just that. I need to be my own best case study. I just get started. Here we go.
And I think that's great as well too. In the meantime, where can we find the Happy Healthy Hustle and also the book Discover Superpower? Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention you also have How to Master Your Goals as your first book. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that's a best-selling book on Amazon in the adult and continuing education category. And that was a question I got all the time. It's like, how do I reach my goals? Most of the time, Mike, to be honest with you, people had like some kind of weird self-proclaimed deadline when they want to get started on their goal. It's like, well, after the kid's out of the house, when I retire, or blah, 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 blah. But then think about that. Wouldn't it be nice to know that every day you are working towards your goal? Because it actually makes your day just a little bit sweeter. And it makes that whole goal of like when the kids are out of the house, maybe, just something that it's not just like this lofty goal, like in 18 years, I'm going to get started on my goals. But no, 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 I'm getting started today because I'm my most important person. I can control my own life. I get started today. Yeah, let's just do that. And I
I
think
think
that's really how it started, that people kept asking, how do I master my goals? How do I really do this? And so I put my best business pointers and tips in there to really help others creating their own value proposition, their brand, and really elevating what they have going on. And I think that overall, that's probably why it became a bestseller because people are like, I have no idea how to master my goals.
and I think that's great. Where can we get how to match your goals, find discover your superpower, the petite practice, happy healthy hustle? Where can we find all your works at?
It's all on Amazon. I have an Amazon storefront. And of course, the Amazon storefront is called Dr. Christiane, right? So if you search on Amazon for my first and last name, Christiane Schroeter, or just for Dr. Christiane on the Amazon storefront, you can find it. And that's also where you can find the amazing timer cube that I just showed earlier, because I have a storefront there of every tool that I personally use and love, and that helps me to propel towards my own goals.
And that's really fantastic. We encourage you to already do that. We're here with the amazing multi-talented Dr. Christiane Schroeter here on the Mike Wagner Show, and with how to master your goals, discover your superpower, petite practice, and more in the Happy Hustle podcast. And just a few more things. What else can we expect in 2025 and beyond?
Well, now I am preparing for my TEDx talk, right? So I'm getting ready for that journey and super excited about that. And then after that, probably going to focus even more on helping others reach that goal, right? So I have some people that want to write their books, I have some people that want to do their podcast, and then I will be helping even more that want to maybe launch their speaking careers. So I'm, going towards coaching, helping others, and really sharing the joy with them of what I experienced myself.
And I think that's a fantastic idea. Looking forward to that. Who do you consider biggest influence in career?
Well, that's a great question. I think that as I was going through my PhD program, I had a lot of female leaders, and one in particular that really helped and kind of picked up the pieces when I was doing my master's degree. And she really sat down with me. She had her own private consulting practice, and that really inspired me that you can be a professor, you can have your consulting, and really use that more as the applied case study that you then
Mm-hmm.
share with your students in the classroom. And I think that was really a role model for me, that is really what I do. I share with the students, learn by doing. This is how I run my business. And in my business, I sometimes share trends that I see my students are doing. So it is a complete, transparency in terms of like, I see trends hands on right there with the clients. But I also see trends, of course, from a different generation with my students. And some of my students have become very successful business owners, and I still am in touch with them and work with them. And now here's the best thing, Mike. They're actually even coming and watching me on my TEDx talk. So there's like full circle right there.
That is fantastic. Very inspiring. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Just to get going. Just to get going. Don't overthink it, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
get started because that someday is not a day on your calendar.
Correct. And I think that's well said as well, too. Here's the Milk Town Dr. Christiane Schroeter here on the Mike Wagner Show. Discover your superpower, petite practice, and more. Dr. Christiane, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your works?
Yeah, so my website, Dr. Christiane, that's written out, Doctor. And then my first name, it's CHRISTIANE.com.
Mm-hmm.
There, of course, there are links to my books right there. You can also just go to Amazon, find my books, and of course, find my podcast, Happy Healthy Hustle, on all podcasting platforms. And of course, I would also to just send me a personal email. It's info@drchristiane.com or find me on social media, Dr.Christiane, where I post. And of course, I'm sharing my journey to that TEDx talk with you. So I would love for you to tune in and cheer me on and maybe even show up at my TEDx talk in California.
That would be great. And what's your email again so people can contact you?
It's info@drchristiane.com. So that's
Okay.
DOCTOR and then CHRISTIANE.
Okay, so we got that down. So make sure you reach out today. Once again, Dr. Christiane, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish all the best. And Dr. Christiane, you definitely have a great future ahead.
Thank you.